of Nerd Nite DC. Thank you. I'm your host for this evening, Rachel. I'm one of the co-bosses. My other co-boss, Ben, is currently stuck in the Smithsonian working tonight. So I get to have all the fun. Yeah! By round of enthusiastic noise-making, who has been to a Nerd Night before? That's what I like to hear. I like that we still had a couple of polite nerds just raise their hands silently. It's okay, you can make noise here. By round of confused noise-making, because you've never been to a Nerd Night before, who's never been to a Nerd Night before? Wow, it's like half and half. I love this. Well, welcome, nerds. For those of you who are new, or for those of you who are too drunk to remember it when I did this last time, a quick origin story. Once upon a time, there was a man named Chris. Chris was a really cool guy. He lived in Boston. He was studying that monster. I know, you're like, that's not a monster, that's an adorable little bird. Did Pixar teach you nothing? Cute equals evil. Yeah, and this bird is no different. This is the indigo bird. It is a brood parasite, which means it lays its eggs in other species' nests and then just leaves its children there. Doesn't ever come to soccer practice, doesn't come to its first play, doesn't come to graduation. It's fine. It's okay. Anyway, Chris would go drink at the local watering hole, and he would talk about the research that he was doing, and he would talk about his field work, and he kept talking about this, and kept talking about this, and kept talking about this, and eventually the bartender was like, oh my god, if I hear about this fucking bird one more time. So he was like, hey, Chris, what if you just got all of your friends together over some beer one night a month, and then talked about it there? And Chris was like, hell yeah! And so Nerd Night was born. It is now in almost 90 cities, around 90 cities worldwide, including our newest addition, State College, which is a city. And I'm really hoping that there's a State College. Bratislava, Guam, and Concepcion. And also, there's always my favorite nerd night, you nerds right here. We actually have two special guests here tonight. One is Kat, and the other is Aaron. They are the former bosses of Nerd Nite DC. They were the bosses when I moved here. Many of you longtime Nerd Nite nerds have no doubt seen them before. So tell them hi, buy them a beer. It's great. Few rules, real quick. Just keep quietish when the presenters are talking. If you don't, there are a number of librarians in this crowd, and they will shush you. You do not want to be shushed by a librarian. Keep drinking, nerds are funnier that way, and don't be a jerk face. We're all here to have fun. We're all here to make friends. Without further ado, it is Valentine's Day month. Love is in the air. It's gonna be spring soon, which means love is really gonna be in the air, but I wanna focus on the better love, the sexy love. It's a little more romantic. I wanna talk for just a few minutes. I want to talk for just a few minutes about, I think, the sexiest field of study. You guys can probably guess, right? Taxonomy, obviously. Sexiest field of study. It's impossible to look through a taxonomy book and not just get really distracted by some of the names. Who knows what that is? Who wants to scream it out? It's a blue movie! I just wanted to get a room full of nerds to scream boobies. So I'm going to start off with my favorite plant of all time. Yeah, as a sommelier, I really appreciate subtle bouquets, and people have tried to describe the odor emitted by this plant, and they've come up with things like gym socks, or rotting meat, or 1,000 pukes. But we're not here to talk about the plant, we're here to talk about its name, which is amazing, and it stands for shapeless penis. There are many delightful subspecies of the shapeless penis, including the impressive shapeless penis, the pendulous shapeless penis, the ridged, for pleasure, shapeless penis, the spiny, not for anyone's pleasure, shapeless penis, and you can't be in DC without talking about Smithsonian shapeless penis. Give it up for your shapeless penis, guys. Yes. On the other end of the spectrum, that's an 8-foot tall plant. This is a 2-inch tall plant. Story goes, a guy named Robert Drews went, and you know him. I love that you know him. He sounds like the coolest dude at anyone. Don't spoiler that he's cool though. Bob Drews went on field work, and he took his friend, whose name is Dennis, with him. And Dennis is a mycologist. He found a new species of fungi, and he was like, you know what, we're gonna name it? We're gonna name it Drew's Dick. Which joke's on him, because I remember Rob Drew's name, and I don't remember that guy's name. Anyway, he was really a good sport about it. He said, I'm utterly delighted. The funny thing is that it is the second smallest known mushroom in its genus, and it grows sideways, almost limp. Which, like, I think he's just gotta be the chillest dude. He's awesome.
And
we have first-hand
voice,
account.
Like booming down the hall before you see Bob.
Love it.
Like you hear him coming.
I love it. You gotta be a loud guy to have a 2-inch tall. Some of the coverage was a little harsh, though. Some rough journalism right there. Other cool species, Oxford ragwort. You can find it all over the place. It's a common species of weed. It stands for, or its scientific name is Synechios squidalidus, which means dirty old man. You can also find those everywhere. A few other species of dirty old man include the inadequate dirty old man, or just old man. It's inadequate old man, and the flaccid old man. I tried to figure out what grows in DC, and it turns out there are lots of different old men that grow in DC. But the inadequate one does not, and I think that's because there's a job title reserved for somebody in the Oval Office right now. Anyway. Is an orchid? Beautiful gift. Give it to someone on Valentine's Day, and when you do, tell them that the name orchid comes from orchis, which is Greek for testicle. So romantic, so romantic. It's because the Greeks thought that, like, if an animal spilled its semen on the ground, orchids would come up. I thought sex education in Georgia was bad. This Georgia O'Keeffe flower is aptly named the clitoria, which was, believe it or not, discovered by a man. George Eberhard Rumpus. Vulva is not just the thing you shout in the gynecologist's office. It is also the name of this type of cowrie snail. Not all vagina-related anatomy living organisms make sense, though. For example, that earwig is named. No, we don't want to think about those two things at the same time. Taxonomist, what? No. On the more flattering end of the spectrum, this is the oldest known penis. It is the penis is. Sorry, downstairs people, but it's the penis-y looking bit. I'm not even going to try and say its name, but it translates to astounding swimmer with a big penis, which is amazing. And there's this one type of fly, that's its name. It translates to disease strained to a thick dick. That's not the type of fly I wasn't about to Google that search term. Facebook already targets weird enough stuff in here. Oh my god. Anyway, enough dicking around. It's time for some totally titillating talks, am I right? Are you guys ready? Are you ready to get the show going? Alright, our first speaker wanted to be an artist when she grew up. She ended up doing something way, way cooler. Please welcome to the stage to talk about brains in space, Dr. Alexandra Terletti.